Well, it is my pleasure to introduce our guest speaker. Faylyn Warnick grew up in Ephraim, Utah, and attended Snow College. So she has been where you are, where she developed a deep love for the community that shaped her roots. She later earned her bachelor's degree in business management and marketing from Columbia Southern University. Over the years, Faylyn has held a variety of positions that have equipped her with valuable skills, but she considers her greatest accomplishment to be her family. She's worked at Centricom for 11 years and currently serves as the Community Development Director. In addition to her role at Centricom, Faylyn founded the first Sanpete County Chamber of Commerce, building a strong team of dedicated women to help lead the organization. She's passionate about helping local businesses thrive, creating connections, and building bridges that strengthen the entire Sanpete community. So please welcome Faylyn.
Well, thank you for having me here today. So I'm going to be a little bit vulnerable here. This is the first time that I've done a PowerPoint presentation, so bear with me, all right? So I'm a little old school. So, but Russ mentioned that I grew up here in Ephraim, and I spent a lot of time on this campus. My dad worked at the Utah State Extension office, and he had an office at the old science building, which was just directly north of here. And so I would ride my bike down here and, go visit him at his office. And there used to be an old alley, kind of where the new science building is, that it was in between, I can't remember what the building was on the corner, but there was an old gym. And in that alley was like piles of coal. That building was heated by coal. So I took my bike down there one time and ended up tripping over a piece of coal and landing in that coal pile. And I still have a chunk of coal in my elbow, which is like kind of like a testament to my history of small town life, or my souvenir for Ephraim. But so growing up here, Ephraim was like a buzzing place. It's hard to imagine that now, but there was a lot of businesses along Main Street. So just to give you an idea, we bought our jeans at Stubbs, sheet music for our music class at Bob McCall's Music Shop, penny candy and birthday cards from Mr. Lee's. We filled up our gas at Husky stations, grabbed groceries at Snappy Service or Shop and Save, rented movies at Top Stop, went out for burgers at the malt shop or tacos at Taco Time, put money in our savings account at Bank of Ephraim. I had pizza and played pinball at the arcade. You had a choice of 2 hair salons within 1 block. And Anderson Drug was the place for makeup, medicine, and flowers, and gifts. Doyle's had everything from bolts to frying pans. Ron Green's was the place everybody bought their first car. And the Town Theater was the place that we would hang out at night. And when you walked back home, you would walk past the bar where live music was playing from out the door. So that was located in between Christensen's and Babs. Just to mention a few businesses that were just within a few blocks on Main Street. So if you can imagine, I mean, there's still some of those businesses that are around, but a lot of them have gone and have moved out of Main Street. And there's very few of those buildings that still have business in them. So businesses have changed in Ephraim and as a whole in United States now. So I get emotional. So sorry about that, but these amazing humans are my reason why. And if your why doesn't get you emotional, then you need to dig a little bit deeper, because everybody needs to have a why, and everybody needs to know the reason why you're working towards the goals that you are. So I call these guys my 3 little birds, because 3 little birds is my happy song, and they're my happy place. So I'm hoping at some point they will have 3 little birds of their own, or maybe more, and let me have some grandkids where I can be involved in their lives. I want to be there for every football game, for every school event. I want to be there for the good and the bad days, and I want to be that cookie grandma. But in order to do that, I got to keep my kids at home. And it's really hard to do that in this community. So there's not a whole lot of opportunities. So you have to make opportunities. That's part of why I really want to make sure that this community thrives and grows, because it's where I grew up. It's a place I love, and it's the place I want my family to stay. So that kind of gives you a little bit about that. So enter the idea. So the word of the day, MacGyver. How many of you have heard of MacGyver before? Okay, so have any of your parents said, well, I'm going to MacGyver this? So, okay, so you've heard that. So what that means to MacGyver something is to fix something with duct tape or to come up with a quick solution. So MacGyver was a TV show from the late 1980s to 90s. The main character was Angus MacGyver. Most people just called him MacGyver. And he was a secret agent and a problem solver from the Phoenix Foundation. What made him famous wasn't brute force or high-tech weapons. It was his creativity. Give him a paper clip and he'd crack open a safe, or hand him duct tape and a sock and he'd be able to build a contraption that got him out of a high-rise building. He had ideas, yes, but most importantly, he used them. So the point that I want you to take away is the greatest businesses aren't always brand new. The ideas sometimes aren't original at all, but what makes them successful is the person behind them, and the drive and creativity and the willingness to move that idea into action. So here's my challenge, and I'm going to start it now, and I want you to think about it as I'm giving you this presentation. What problem in your world do you have to solve? What business idea do you have sitting in your pocket like MacGyver's paperclip? And most importantly, how do you MacGyver it into a real situation? Okay, so moving on, my idea was the chamber. And how many of you know what a chamber of commerce is? Yay! I recognize you. Yeah, you worked with us before. No wonder you know what a chamber is for. So yes. Okay. So a chamber of commerce is a local network of businesses that come together to support one another through connections, resources, and advocacy. By building partnerships and creating synergy, they strengthen the economic vitality of the community and help the community grow. So does anybody know what synergy means? So similar, yeah.
It's better to have two of you than one. Like, you'll get more done as a group of two than you would as a single person.
Yes, exactly. So basically what synergy means is if you work together, the group does better as a whole than just one person. So in business, what synergy would be is, say for instance, I'll give you an example. Say there's a bunch of businesses on Main Street that they're all right next to each other, and they want to bring people downtown, because when people are downtown and their street is vibrant, then they do better and it creates community. Okay, so they work together to try to find a solution for this. They decide that they're going to have a sidewalk sale. So everybody on the street has a sidewalk sale. They bring out some of their items, or they come out and discuss what services they offer. And then people come down maybe just to visit one of those businesses. But while they're there, they realize that they really like the products in the place next door, or there's a service there that they didn't know was available to them, and they want to be able to use that. So instead of these businesses competing with their neighbors right next door, they become partners, and that creates a synergy. So that's kind of what the chamber wants to do, and that's my goal as a chamber president, to build that synergy within a community. So, sorry, I passed this. So these are the kind of the legs that our chamber goes on, the elevate, empower, and network. So that's kind of what we've built. So the big idea. So this kind of is where my story goes. We mentioned that I work for Centricom. That is the job that pays the bills. I'm the community development director. And in that role, what I do is I work as the liaison between that company, the cities, and the communities. So Centricom is a telecommunication company that started here in Sanpete, but now it is a really large company that goes all the way from Garden City, Utah by Bear Lake to St. George. So I have a lot of communities that I get involved in. I go to Chamber of Commerce meetings in Santaquin and Delta, Richfield, in Nephi, and even in Garden City. So as I'm attending these meetings, I'm realizing the benefits that this chamber has to the businesses within the communities. And I kept thinking, you know what? Sanpete doesn't have a chamber. There is not one city in Sanpete that has a chamber. And it really, really started bugging me about that, because I could see the benefits of this chamber, and my home doesn't have this. It needed that benefit. And I know that they had chambers before, because at one point I was a general manager of the hotel south of here, and I worked as the secretary for a chamber. But somehow that chamber went to the wayside. So it was an Ephraim City chamber, but there had never been a county chamber. So I happened to be on a board in Mount Pleasant called the Main Street Committee. And in 2022, I was in one of those meetings, and they were talking about how the Main Street Committee could help businesses. And I spoke up and said, why don't we have a chamber of commerce in this area? And the director of that, or the president of that committee said, you know what? I don't know. I mean, we really could use one. Why don't you start it? And I was like, are you kidding me? Like, I always started a chamber of commerce. Like, that's weird. I have no idea how that would even happen. So, but it sparked an idea. And there was another woman in that meeting. Her name is Shauna Watts. And we got talking afterwards. And we said, you know what? Maybe we could create some kind of a group, like a business group or something, that we could, bring these businesses together. And she's like, okay, yeah, I think we could do this. So Shauna she's the marketing director for Intermountain Health. And she's like, yeah, I think we could probably do something like that. So we kind of tossed around the idea for a little bit. We reached out to a few other people and started building on that. But now I'm going to have an interaction with you guys. So grab your paper, your notebooks, or whatever, and I want you to formulate an idea. Okay, so when you start a business, and a chamber is a business, you have to start a business, get a tax ID number, you have to register your business, you have to do all of the same things that you would starting a regular business as or when you start a chamber. But before you do all that, there's other steps that you need to take in order to start a business. You need to formulate your idea. So right now we're going to follow through the first few steps and just kind of pretend that you're starting a business, and maybe you have some business ideas that you want to work on. So put that idea on paper. So that's the first step. is to write it down, because writing it down gives that idea life. It makes it real. So putting it on paper helps you to formulate it, to build on it, and to make it real within your mind. Put down a clear description of what you want it to be. It doesn't have to be detailed, but just put down what you want to do. So for mine, I wanted to create the first chamber of Sanpete. Didn't originally start out that way, but that's how it ended up. For yours, I don't know if you want to start a bakery or something like that in your community. You can start that, filling a void of something that is needed. Okay, so the next step is to define your why. Now, we talked about my why a little bit before. It has to be an emotional why. It has to be solid within you. You have to feel really strongly about this and know that you're doing it for a reason, because there are going to be days that it's not easy. And if you don't have a strong why, it's sometimes like, why am I doing this? I had many of those days. This is a volunteer type thing. This was not something that I was getting paid for. It wasn't something that was really benefiting me, like financially or even in my job or anything else. But I really felt strongly about what I was doing. And in those days that it was really hard, my why helped me move forward. So if you have a strong why, you can do the same thing. Okay, so break it into steps. So this, I just had a picture up here of some of our ladies. This is some of the people that have worked with us in the past. So gather a small group of interested business leaders was my goal at first. So that was the first thing that I needed to do. For you, maybe you need to break it into, like if it's a bakery, then maybe you need to test some recipes or find out what the community wants, or maybe look at price options or something, price out equipment or something like that. So break it into the different steps of how you're going to make this work. For mine, the next step was to do the research. This was really hard for me because I had like I had mentioned, I had no idea how to start a chamber. This was just, completely foreign to me. So I had a friend. She was the director of the Nephi Chamber of Commerce, and she had asked me a while back if I would help her with the chamber and be on her board. And at the time I was like, I'm too busy. I can't help you. Little did I know that my life was going to get a whole lot busier. But I got thinking about that, and I thought, you know what? Maybe I need to go be on her board and learn a little bit about what they're doing in Nephi and find out what that chamber is doing. So that's what I did. I joined their board, and I learned a little bit about how a chamber is run and what I needed to do. And as I was learning, I thought I had a little bit of time. Abby reached out to me and said, you know what? They are figuring out the funds for Sanpete County, like right now, like in a couple weeks, or a week away from now. Why don't you do a presentation to them and get this chamber going? And I'm like, what? Are you kidding me? I don't know what to start with, but she's like, hey, okay, I'm going to help you. I'm going to guide you through. So she was one of the first people to kind of help me set up some of the very basic things that we needed to have. So we went to the county commissioners. We knew that a chamber wasn't going to work unless we had somebody that was going to work this chamber, because chambers have come and gone before, but we needed somebody that was actually going to work for it. And my simple plan, I'm going to go back to this, okay? But I'm going to tell you a little bit about how this all worked out. And I don't believe in coincidence at all. So we put together our board of directors. We started our business. We got our EIN number. We got everything official and went to the county commissioners to ask for some funds. So that was originally there was Shauna Watts, Shanine Winch, Alicia King, and Claudia King. They are all either business people or business owners in the community. So we went and approached the county commissioners, and funny thing was, Stephanie Hardy was upstairs and at the county office. She was registering her car and happened to ask, "Where's the chamber? Is there like a chamber in this area?" I mean, random. And they said, "You know what? There's not a chamber, but they actually are trying to form one, and they're downstairs talking to our county commissioners like right now." And so she went downstairs. We were there a little bit early. It was before we had met with the county commissioners, and she introduced herself. She had lived in Ogden area, had worked with chambers for years, and also worked with Custom Fit, which is another organization that helps businesses find funds. And she says, "I want to be involved." And we're like, "Yeah, please come help us, come be involved." So the commissioners said, "Okay, well, we'll give you $15,000 to get started," which in business is not a whole lot. But we were super grateful for that. So we decided with that, we were going to turn around and go running with it. So I'm going to jump back a little bit. We made a simple plan. We decided we were going to try to recruit, 30 people, get it kind of going. We'll start slow. But it ended up that we needed to do something really quick. We decided we were going to jump in with both feet, and we had an event. Our first event was a lunch and learn meeting. It was we invited everybody that we could. We only had like 2 weeks to get the word out to business people, and we were kind of nervous about the turnout. We didn't know who was going to show up, and this is a picture of our first meeting. With 2 weeks notice in the community, this is how many people showed up to our first meeting because they wanted to know more about a Chamber of Commerce. So it was really, it was great. And we had 15 people even before this meeting sign up as members of our chamber and wanted to be a part of this chamber. So we were super excited about that. So from there, we decided that we just needed to stay consistent, and that's the next step. So we started making regular meetings. We called them our lunch and learn meetings, and had several people that would join us every single month. We'd have somebody from the community come and teach something about business, or we joined with other organizations that were statewide that would come in and connect our businesses with the opportunities that they provide. So people are loving it, and these businesses were so happy to be a part of this community effort. We decided we were going to reach out and build support, which is our next step. So we went to every single one of the cities, and a Chamber of Commerce and the other ones Chamber of Commerces that I had looked into were all for one city. And we couldn't just do it for one city because we felt like the whole county needed something here. And so we started this chamber for the county, which had 15 or more cities. And it was a different kind of thing. We had to do things a lot different. And we were a little bit out of our realm because we couldn't do it like the other chambers. So we had to dig in and really talk to a lot of people and build support from a lot of other places. We talked to our cities and worked with them. We worked with regional chambers and state chambers and found out all sorts of information that was going to help us build this. So with the next step, be ready to adapt. So this one, we learned early. There was a lot of things that we had to learn to change. One of the first events that we set out to do was a restaurant week. So I mentioned Abby Ivory, who was the director in Nephi. She had started, who is now our regional economic development director for Sanpete County and 6 counties. So amazing lady, by the way. But she, at the time, was the director of Nephi Chamber and had got a grant to do this program, and I forget the name of it, but it was similar to a group of restaurant owners, kind of like a combination of business owners and food producers, or restaurant owners and food producers that would come together. Taste of Utah, excuse me. So yeah, she created the Taste of Utah, and they were all going to come together, and it was going to be one place where people could go enjoy all of the different foods that were available in her area. And she was struggling to get people to sign up for it. She had done a restaurant week, and that's what we decided we were going to do. It was very successful. And so we thought we would do a restaurant week and then try to tie it into this Taste of Utah so we could maybe help each other out a little bit. But, you know, Sanpete County, there's quite a few places that you can eat. Not a whole lot, but there's quite a few businesses. And it would be kind of fun to be able to taste all of their food, right? We didn't get anybody. And a lot of them were our members of our chamber, but we didn't get anybody that wanted to sign up for this. And we were really disappointed. So we had to cancel it altogether. And that was one of our first losses. What you could say was a loss, but at the same time, it was a win because we learned how to pivot from that point and change our focus into something else. We met another lady that wanted to do a home and garden show and didn't have the ability to do that on her own. So she reached out to us, and we were like, okay, yeah, that's a good place to bring businesses together and kind of create some synergy. So yeah, let's do that. So we did a home and garden show. And from that pivot from the restaurant week to a home and garden show worked out great. So celebrate the small wins. Every little step is going to be difficult, or it's going to be great. So you have to realize the difficult moments are stepping you into a learning experience, and the great moments are going to be the little wins that you're going to celebrate. I mean, celebrate your first dollar, celebrate your I'm like coming up with, like, for us, it was like our members, or we had a ribbon cutting. So does anybody know what a ribbon cutting is? Yeah, I see one head shaking back here. Does anybody else know? So when a business starts, it's a ceremonial type thing. So we go out and welcome them into a community. We have a ribbon and a big scissors, like they're big scissors, and they get to cut this ribbon, and it's kind of like a welcome into the community. And we did our first ribbon cutting within a month of starting the chamber. It was pretty exciting for us. So yeah, celebrate those wins and every win along the way. So this is just some of the things that we've done. We've been around for almost 2 years. In November, it will be 2 years. We had the top picture over here is our gala. We had a business gala where we gave awards to different businesses within the community. We had golf. We just finished our second golf tournament yesterday, actually. But we've had 2 golf tournaments now that have brought businesses together and gave them another place to network and to work together. This is one of the ribbon cuttings with the big scissors. So this new business is in Fairview. And then the Home and Garden Show, this was our first Home and Garden Show. We've done 2 now, but the first Home and Garden Show was here at Snow College. And we quickly outgrew that. And last year, we had to move from that space into a new space in Mount Pleasant. So we've had some times that in fact, we talked about a little bit of disappointment. We recently had a little bit of a disappointment. We went back to the county commissioners to try to see if we could get some more funding last November. And they said, we said this was going to be a one-time thing. So I don't know that we have funding for you. We'll give you $6,000 now, but we want you to come back in the summer and then we'll reevaluate this. So they gave us $6,000, which we didn't get until summer. But in that meantime, we were able to get a grant. And we did a business symposium, which brought a whole bunch of people here into Sanpete County from all over. We had a lot of really great speakers that spoke to entrepreneurs and business people, Russ being one of our speakers. So it was a really great day. So we had that grant, and that kind of helped us for the time being. We recently went back to the county commissioners and said, okay, so this is what we've done. This is what we've accomplished. We've got 130 members now. So we've got these businesses. We've provided grants or helped these business get grants or give them the information of where they can get that grant. We've worked with all sorts of different businesses with trials that they may be facing and tried to show all of the things that we have been doing. And they said, you know what, we just don't have the funds, so we can't help you. So we were a little bit disappointed again. And within just a very short time, we were able to meet with Ephraim City. And Ephraim City was willing to work with us so that we could get a building. So that's where that building right here, if you know where the co-op building, that's Snow College's co-op building on the corner of Main Street, right next to it is the granary building. And that is where the chamber is going to be able to be. We're getting ready to sign our contract for that. And they were willing to work with us to find a building that we can have an office in, as well as start a business incubator. And we're working with people with Snow College, with the Small Business Administration, as well as other people to make that happen. So, like I said, some things don't always work, but they fall into place. So we're really excited to see what happens with this in the next little while. And Russ, again, was key with helping us kind of formulate this as well, because that synergy, we all work together no matter where we're at and what organization we work in or work for. It's better when we all get together. So one of the last things that I'm going to do, and I don't know, how am I with time? Do I have a lot of? Okay. All right. We might be a little bit early on that, but okay. So one of the biggest things that our chamber really tries to push is shop local. So the reason is because we want people to support those businesses that are on Main Street. So I have a little bit of statistics here. So if you spend $100 in the community, 45 to 52 of those dollars stay within the community. They're helping support jobs. They're helping create or helping with our roads, helping with schools. They're helping our community. Now, if you buy from Amazon or send your dollars someplace else, you're only getting 13 to 14% of that amount back. So $13 to $14 compared to $45 to $52. So if we're shopping local and using the businesses that are around us, we are actually paying into our community. So I recently did a little research, and I kind of tallied how many households we have in Sanpete County. So I'm sure many of you have roommates. So maybe some of you are lucky enough to live alone, but if your household would be you and your roommates. So if each household in Sanpete County was to just spend $10 a week at a local business, within a year, Sanpete County would have an extra $4.5 million within our community. So that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to keep that money here and trying to find ways that we can build bridges between businesses and create that synergy and make things work for businesses in our area so that we can bring them back home, bring them back to Main Street, and hopefully they can start a business in what we are hoping to do with our incubator and move their business from their garage to Main Street and offer a place for the community to come and visit. So that's kind of our goal. And I know that there's a lot of great minds out there in this room, and I'm really excited to see what you all accomplish and some of the things that you're going to do. And hopefully I get to see your MacGyver skills with business. So that's all I've got. I'm a little bit short, but
I think we got time for questions.
yeah, questions. Anybody? Yeah.
I just had a question, like, maybe I just don't understand it completely, but like, how does a business to be a part of a chamber, do you have to like, do they pay you like money or something? Like, how do you guys,
Okay, very good question. I didn't explain that at all. So yes, a business joins the Chamber of Commerce and they do pay a fee to the chamber to provide their service. So we've made it so that it could be, if it's a big business, they can pay us a large fee we can help them with marketing or whatever their needs may be. Or if it's a small business that just kind of needs a little bit of a boost that we can help them with, we have created a structure that is within both realms. So our fee structure is from $75 a year up to $1,000 a year, depending on what you need. So with that, a business will get a landing page on our website, and they will have access to all of our lunch and learn meetings. They'll have access to all our newsletters that we send out weekly, as well as any of our help that we can give them. So that membership is what helps keep us going. So yes, thank you for asking that.
I was going to ask, so a lot of these students in this room are, entrepreneurs or going to be entrepreneurs. Why should they join a chamber? What benefits would it have to them in the future or now? And what ways are there now for students, specifically with Sanpete Chamber? I mean, what would you tell people about joining in the future?
Okay. So kind of going back to that whole synergy type thing, joining a chamber, the network part is fantastic. Working together with other businesses that have similar problems to what you're facing is invaluable. You could be sitting next to somebody that has dealt with all of the problems that you've faced and can give you find a mentor within that network. But also there's educational information that we provide, and we filter a lot of the information that's out there. And there's a lot of information out there. And businesses can get it on their own. but they're searching at a lot of different places and trying to find all that information, where we'd go out and search that information and we filter it into a place where they can easily access it. And then we try to provide training for those different things, as well as a little bit of marketing for these businesses. So with that, they receive a better search engine optimization by being a chamber member. Because it will, if they have like a website or something like that. If they don't have a website, we have a landing page on our website that they can start. So it's a good place for them to begin. And it's a great place for businesses that are established to also reach out to the community and kind of do their part, maybe be a mentor or help another business that may be struggling. So that's kind of, does that answer your question, Russ?
Yeah, and then the second part would be, right now, what opportunities do you see for students to maybe collaborate or get involved more with the Chamber of Commerce if they're interested?
Okay, so we are always looking for people that can help us out. We've had students that have come in and helped us at different times, just with different events or something like that. But then they can kind of see how the workings of everything goes. They can follow the steps of business. You're welcome to come to any of our lunch and learn meetings if there's, or any of our trainings. There is a fee for those, but we do have some scholarship funds for people that would be interested in doing that. But we have all sorts of information availability to you as students, and maybe get you incorporated in helping us. Yeah.
What marketing strategies have you found to be the most effective for small businesses?
So that is really difficult because in this area, it's really hard to get people's eyes on anything. So we have found that doing it any way you possibly can is the best. Social media works, but it's not always the best way of doing things. Sometimes word of mouth is the best way to get things out. So that networking is one of the best ways to get the word out, which is, we're pushing on doing other marketing strategies, like we have radio ads, we do newspaper ads, and all sorts of other things. But it is kind of a struggle in small community. I think probably the best would be social media. Did that answer? Yeah.
So you said you work for Central Common.
Uh-huh.
So how do you balance like doing all of this and that job?
Very difficult. It's very difficult to balance both. So right now, my daughter is moving out this week, so I will be officially an empty nester. And to me, my kids, I was a single mom for a lot of years, and so my kids were my world. And not having them there, I kind of needed something. And so I was kind of hoping for something, maybe not this much work, but but yeah, it's really hard to find the balance, but at the same time, it's so rewarding. And when you find a business that has been really struggling and you can find a solution for them, it's heartwarming and it's really great. So that helps. Luckily, also, Centricom has been wonderful to work with me with this, and they've been very supportive of the chamber. They're big advocates with helping the community and anything that they can do to support the community. And so they've been very supportive with being flexible with my job so that I can do this too. So I'm lucky that way. Yeah. So anybody else?
How many businesses are in a chamber?
So we have 133 as of right now. So yeah, I just did a count yesterday because we're putting out a chamber magazine, so it will be in the mail here shortly. But yeah, so I thought I saw another hand over here. Is there anybody else? All right. Well, thank you so much for having me.